little reminder about attendance. So I'm guessing you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Just remember that you've got to go in and do the attendance. I've have them set to open on each day, so I didn't have that set before. So you go into today's date, you type what we talked about yesterday. That means if you did not attend, you have to watch the Google Meet, give me one piece of information from the lesson, and that will be, and if it's correct, it's extra credit going toward your grade at the end of the semester. So we're reviewing, we're at the end of our unit. And so this is the first four of your homework, of your assignment for the review. So I'm going to go through and do some reminders here. So type of bond. So remember, if it's an ionic bond, you need a metal plus a nonmetal or polyatomic. If it's covalent, it is two nonmetals. So you need to use your periodic table. So number one, calcium is a metal. So since it's a metal, I know this is ionic. And I can just put an I, or you can write the word ionic. Um, C is carbon. It's a nonmetal. And O is a nonmetal. So two nonmetals. So this is covalent. Water is two nonmetals. It's covalent. Um, Sr is a metal. And then this is a polyatomic here. So this is ionic. So that's how you're going to do that column. This column, you're writing the name. So remember and number one, I believe is done for you here. Calcium, the first is always the name of the element when it's ionic, just the name of it. The second part, you have to change, adding IDE. So it's going to be calcium chloride. Then it wants you to tell how many atoms of each you have over here. So calcium doesn't have a number, so it's one atom of calcium. Chlorine has two, so two atoms of chlorine. So if we go here, carbon with covalent, remember we have to use the prefixes. With carbon, there is no number, so we're going to write just carbon. We don't use mono with it. Hello, James. I'm going over the assignment for today, doing the first four. So if you want to pull that up, you can get the answers for at least the first four. I look at oxygen. It has a 2, so that I'm going to use the prefix dioxide. And then I'm going to count my atoms. Carbon, there is no number there, so it has 1. Oxygen has a number, it has 2. That's how I'm counting my atoms. I want the individual atoms for each element. All right, water again is, I'm not writing water here, I want the scientific name. So there's 2 hydrogens, so it's dihydrogen, and monoxide because there's 1 oxygen. And then I'm going to count. Hydrogen is 2, oxygen is 1. So covalent, you have to use the prefixes, and the ionic, you do not. SR, so I'm going to have to look up SR on the periodic table. Give me a minute to call a periodic table up. I don't have that one memorized. And let's see. Well, it might be good if I get one that has names on it. Okay. SR, I believe, is in group 2. So it is, uh-oh, can't read that one. Let me find one I can actually make large and read on my phone. See what happens there. Um, can't read it. That's what I get for not having a printed out one. All right, strontium. All right, so this one is strontium. It's in group 2. It's one I just don't use a lot, so I don't have it memorized. PO4 is phosphate. Remember, you can use the chart, and I'll have a chart available for you when we take a test. Phosphate. So strontium phosphate, ionic, no prefixes. All right, so now this one though, I'm going to want SR is 3. I'm going to break these apart here. So I have to use distributive property like in math. So 2 times 1 is 2. So there are 2 phosphoruses. And O, 2 times 4 is 8. There are 8. So that's how we're counting. So we've done the first 4 of the first sheet of your review together. So if you're not filling it in as we go along, you may want to take a screenshot so you can get those down. So at least you get those 4 correct. Um, and that's an example of how you do that page. Then we're going to move on to the second page, and let's see if I can make mine. This is where we are drawing. So some had trouble with this. So we're going to try this again. That's carbon and chlorine. So for drawing this, I'm going to put a C. Carbon has 4 valence electrons. Chlorine has 7. So chlorine wants 1. So they're going to share. All right, I've taken care of that. I need another chlorine here. And it doesn't matter how you group them around. I change them so I can circle easy. There's another one. I'm going to need a chlorine here. Circle. And I'm going to need a chlorine here. Circle. That's just step 1. So for covalent, I'm going to go here and I'm going to make those circles into straight lines. And remember this, yesterday I told you if you did it on paper and you took a picture and emailed it to yourself, then you could crop out each individual answer and paste into the document in Cami, or you can use your mouse and try to draw it like this. It's a little harder with the mouse because I'm actually able to use a stylus. This one, notice that was number 2. So number 3, this is an example of a ionic. So for ionic, we have magnesium. Magnesium is in group 2. We have oxygen, which is in group 6. And this is where we draw arrows. So we have one that goes here and one that goes here. And so we're going to write MgO. So that's how you're going to do that page. I think there may be only 8 of those, maybe 6 of them. I'm not sure. So 2 of them are done. So you might want to take a screenshot of that, or you can type on yours done in class for those 2, since it's a little harder to get the answer up there. The next section is writing names. So we've already practiced it a little bit. We're going to practice it a little more. Again, you have to know if it is a covalent or ionic bond. And we know that from metal. So lithium is a metal. So we're going to write lithium. H, because there are 3 capital letters. I know my last 2 are probably going to be a polyatomic. I would look on the chart, and I know that's hydroxide. All right, so this first column, 1 through 10, is going to be writing these names out. Oh, gracious. I can't see. Let me flip over here so I can see what those exponents are. Uh, P4 and S5. All right. So P is phosphorus. That's a nonmetal. So it's a 4. So it's covalent. I'm going to have to use this. Tetra phosphorus. And then pentasulfide. The second one, we always change to an IDE ending. Unless it's a polyatomic, use whatever special name it is. But there won't be polyatomics in covalent. But up here, it was IDE because hydroxide was a polyatomic ion. It had a special name. This was sulfur, so we just dropped the ending and add IDE. So covalent, tetra, phosphorus, pentasulfide. I did this one because it is also has a polyatomic, but notice it's at the beginning. It's our only one that will come at the beginning. This is ammonium sulfide. Whoops. All right, so the only one that has a positive, so it comes at the beginning. The only one that wouldn't have a metal at the beginning. So that's writing names. First, you determine, is it ionic or is it covalent? If it's ionic, no prefixes. If it's covalent, you have to do prefixes for your subscripts. Over here, we have phosphorus. We know that's a non-metal. We have triiodide, and I see I have a prefix. So that means this is covalent. So the symbol for phosphorus is P. When it's at the beginning and it doesn't have a prefix, that means a 1, so I don't have to put anything, just the symbol. Iodide is an I. I like to put the top and bottom to a capital I so I don't confuse it with a lowercase l. And it's a triiodide, so I'm going to put a 3. Sometimes when they type it in, it depending on the font that people use, a capital I, it can be confused with a lowercase l. All right, we have iodine. Again, this is a non-metal. This is fluoride is also a non-metal, so this is covalent. Iodine, there's no prefix, so it's just I. Pentafluoride, fluoride is F, penta means 5. So writing those symbols are very easy. It's these next ones that are an issue. So we have sodium. Sodium, I know, is Na. It's a metal. I'm going to have a charge. It's in group 1, so it's going to be a plus. Now, carbonate is CO. Now I'm going to come over to my canvas, and I'm going to go down to where I put my polyatomic chart link. Period table link. Well, where did I put the polyatomic link? All right, I know I put it up here somewhere. Right there. So I'm going to look here, and I'm going to look for carbonate. I think it is CO3. Let me see, CO3. Well, I'm overlooking it. Oh, right there. Yes, CO3. It's a -2. So for polyatomics, you can use that chart. So I know that it's CO3 2 minus. So to write this, I'm going to go ahead and put a parentheses here. This number will go here. This number, which is 1, will go here. Well, if this is a 1, I don't need those parentheses. So it's going to be Na 2CO3. And I don't have to put the parentheses because there's no number. But if this had been a number, I would have to put all that in parentheses. So this gives you 6 of what you're going to do on that sheet. So you may want to take a screenshot so you can have those answers to put in. Now, you may not be able to draw this part. You may have to do that on paper. Um, Again, if you wanted to do all of these on paper, screenshot or take a picture of the answers on paper, you can upload that image right on your Cami on that particular page, and then I should be able to make it bigger to see the answers as long as you did it number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. You numbered it well, and if you could fit it on one page. So if you'd rather do it on paper that way, take a picture, upload it in the Cami on that page. So that is sort of the review for today. So you've got sort of 3 pages. This one is identifying the bonds. It's also writing the names, so you're getting double practice, and then counting atoms. Then you're reviewing drawing, covalent, and ionic. Ionic has arrows. Covalent, we circle. And then more name writing and writing chemical formulas. So that's your assignment for the day. For today is sort of a review of that. Tomorrow we're going to review with Kahoot. And Friday you will take your bonding test. Um, I will try to attach inside the bonding test a periodic table and an image of your polyatomic ions that you'll need. You've got to know your prefixes, though. You have to know your prefixes. Um, any questions on how to do this? Now, what would be best is if you have everything completed within this bonding unit before Friday, before the test. So we're going to be moving on Monday to reactions. And remember, I said yesterday that come Monday, I'm going to have the Google Meet on so you can still pop in at the same time, hear the instruction. So anything under this bonding module here, you need to have completed because it's going to help you on the test that will be Friday. But we're going to review tomorrow, and I guess you couldn't call up that page if I didn't have it published.
Fine.
Smart, Miss Noel, smart. Okay. So you refresh, you should have that now popping up. Where is it? All right, yeah. So your mixed practice is just like I said, I went over some examples in that Jamboard, and you do that as part of your review, and then we'll Kahoot tomorrow. So any questions? Go put them on a plate, and you cook them. You're going to spill it.
So,
Cook it for a minute.
No questions.
Okay.
no.
Yeah. No, one, and then it should start. All right. Did you have a question, James?
Can you like do it on paper and send it through email?
No, you can do it on paper, take a picture, and put it in Cami.
Okay.
If you click one, it should automatically start. Okay. Uh, yeah, so if you hold it up, if you go to a Word document, let me see if I can do an example. So if I go to this Word document here, and I'm going to use my daughter's paper, so it's not going to make any sense. And you go to Insert, well, let it load, Image, and go to Camera. And then you hold it in front of the camera. So like I said, this is something that my daughter is doing. So I'm going to get it to where I can see it. And you may have to take 2 pictures. So if I did it this way, you may have to take 2 pictures of it so you can get the top and the half. in the bottom. Her paper is a half a paper, so I can hold it and get it pretty much in the center. I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to say insert, and then get rid of that. It inserts it, and you can crop it if you want. When you click on here, if you can't see the crop, go to the three little dots here. This is your crop image, and maybe I don't want my finger there. Maybe there's some excess on the side. I want just the paper, and then I'm going to click like this. Then you should be able to file, copy. Well, no, file. Darn, you have to do it in slides.
What about Control C?
No, I was wanting to save an image. All right, if don't think you can do that in slides. Let me go to this slide and let me see, because you need it saved as an image. And I don't, well, you can try it. I don't know if it'll copy it into Cami or not. Let me try that. Let me go back first. I know you can insert. Let's see if you can copy. If I've copied it, and if I go here and I open this up, I'm going to have to immediately delete it or you'll have a picture of this document on your Cami. So if you go in here, and I would actually, though, before you do that, go back here while that's loading. See how it's sideways? This little thing here, you can rotate it like this, and now it's upright. You can also make it bigger. Um, the only problem is sometimes if you don't write, if you write with a light pencil or a something real light writing, it's hard for me to see. So make sure it's written clearly. So it's upright. So now I'm going to copy again. Okay, I'm sorry, Caroline. And then if I go over here and let me just see if I can, well, no, let me do Control V, see what happens. See, I don't think it's letting me paste. No, see, that's what I was afraid of, is I've got to be able to paste it, and it's not letting me paste. What if I do text box and there's no paste, Control V. All right, it's not letting me paste. So that's what I was going to say. The other option for that, because you got to have it saved as an image. That's why if you can take it on your phone and email it to you, it's better. If you come here and on a slide, I can paste that image now. Let me delete this. Come on. So in slides, you can paste directly onto a slide. Then you go to File, Download, JPEG. Okay. And it will either put it in your downloads or it'll put it in your Google Drive. So I always check folder to see where it puts it. It's going in my drive. So let me see what it named it as. Um, Untitled Presentation 3. So that's what I'm going to look for it. You can change the name if you want. So I'm going to go back to my Cami. I'm going to go to Image, Drive. Oh, nope. Drive, not that one. Drive. And hopefully you don't have multiple accounts like I do. Go to your account. And when it finally loads, it kind of pulls all the images here. And so I'm hoping it will pull that one there. If not, see, this goes all the way back to when I taught at Albemarle. It is not pulling it there. All right, so the other option is you go to folder. This will be probably the better one. And go to my drive. There we go. and untitled presentation and open. And there it is. And so then I can make it bigger if I need to see it or smaller. You can make it bigger as well. The one thing with slides, if you know how to change, customize them, and make them different sizes, that will help. I'm going to delete this so everybody doesn't get a copy of this little document, or I thought I would. There we go. But that's how you can do it. I would use this. If you want to customize this, you can go down to page setup, and if you go to custom and you do 8.5, oops, by 11, it puts it regular paper size. So you could go ahead and stretch this the size of the paper before you download it as a JPEG. So a lot of steps for doing it if you can't just take a picture on your phone and email it. Um, there's a way, and I've never used the student app this way, but there might be a way if you had the student app for Canvas to do this, but I haven't played around with the student app a lot. I prefer using my regular computer. But anyway, that's how you can get it on a big size. And then just remember you go download um, JPEG. JPEG, ping image might work too, but I just usually do JPEG. Know where it goes, go into Cami, go to the folder, not the Google Drive, and it will then you can insert it. So if you want to write them on paper, the only thing is make sure, because taking a picture with your computer camera, sometimes it gets blurry. Make sure you you may have to take a couple pictures so you get all the problems, but you've written neatly and written dark enough that it'll show up in a picture. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is an option. It's time for Miss Mabry's Google Meet for you. So that is what you can. So that is what you can do if you'd rather write these on paper, and then for each page, just put that image or images for that page. And then when you submit it, the images will be there, and I can drag them and make them bigger. Okay. If you play around with it and find an easier way, I just know my daughter does a lot of pictures with her phone and emails it to herself at her school email, and then she is able to then insert the images she needs. I know it takes a little while to send the email. Um, depending on your internet, whether you've got internet at home or you're using your data. So that may not necessarily be an option. So these multiple steps with Google Slides might be the better option of that. Okay, it's almost lunchtime. After Miss Mabry, it's lunchtime.
Honestly, I think the emailing myself would be the best option.
So, I mean, you just have to decide if you want to go through the multiple steps with the using slides, and you can just reference back to this Google Meet when I put it up to see the steps and just fast forward to that part. Um, Google, that's how I get a lot of images in. A lot of times is I do it through the slides and download it as a JPEG. So once you do it a couple times, you'll get the hang of it. But to get the initial picture, put it in Word, because I'm not sure. Let's see. I was going to check this and didn't. Insert image. Oh, you can do it in slides too. So just go to slides, go to image, choose camera, take your picture. You have to do multiple pictures to get your whole page because of how your camera works on your Chromebook, and insert them. And then you can modify these or whatever, the sizes and stuff. Okay.
Okay.
So that would be one way to bypass trying to write within the cami. Yeah. All right. If no questions, that's it. Stop recording.